We've all been caught in that trap of comparison, especially in the middle of working towards your goals. So I'm going to talk about why comparison is so sneaky and how it can really silently sabotage your progress, your confidence, and your fulfillment and happiness. More importantly, I'm going to walk you through a simple mindset that will help you actually enjoy the success that you're creating. So let's start here. I want you just to think about the things that you catch yourself thinking. Why does she make it look so easy? Or I should be further along by now. Or why doesn't my family have it as together as theirs? Why don't we have that or get to do those things? What's wrong with me that this feels so hard? That's comparison talking. And it's not really your fault. Because your brain is wired to compare. And when you're a high achiever, this can become self-comparison on overdrive. And instead of motivation, it just creates shame and discouragement. And even worse, most of us compare ourselves to some version of what we don't have or where we aren't, maybe what someone else has, or just some idea of more, and not even the true version of what we actually want. This is why your vision of self-image that we established early in RSF Women is so important. It reminds you of what you really want. You may not even really want that thing that you see that looks good on social media. A bigger house, or that lifestyle, or that vacation, or whatever it is. If it is part of your vision, great. Let's keep working for it. But if it's not, remind yourself of that. Keep reminding ourselves that it may not even be something that you aspire to have or something that you value. Now, in the case, though, that we are comparing ourselves to that future vision of what we do really want or where we do really want to be in the long term, it's easy to only compare ourselves to that future version, a future that hasn't happened yet. And then we use that gap to beat ourselves up. What we don't do often enough is look at how far we've come. Now think about it. Where were you 6 months ago, a year ago, even a month ago? What would your past self be proud of to know that you're doing today? Now that perspective, comparing yourself to your own progress, is one of the most powerful ways to build confidence. You're not starting from scratch. You're building from experience and significant progress. That counts. In fact, in terms of happiness and fulfillment, that's most of it. Humans are goal-seeking beings, which means that we gain more fulfillment from seeking goals than we do from actually achieving them. Think about it. The high from that last thing that you achieved or accomplished probably didn't last as long as you thought it might. We gain fulfillment in the process, and we really need to remember that. We forget that. We think we'll be happy when we finally achieve X or when Y is finished. But when you actually get that thing that you're longing for, that feeling won't last long. And then you'll be on to the next thing. And keep in mind, when that vision of self-image that you've created does become a reality, you'll establish a new one. There is no endpoint. This is where relentless solution focus helps us to interrupt that spiral and become more present in the progress and in the process. When you catch yourself comparing, whether it's to someone else or your future ideal, I want you to pause and ask yourself, what's one thing I've done that my past self would be proud of? And what's one thing I can do today to keep moving forward to my next goal? That tiny shift from asking and answering those questions releases solution-focused neurotransmitters instead of cortisol. And it moves you out of that self-doubt spiral and back into action. I have to remind myself of this too. I'll catch myself thinking about where I want to be next. And this is a good thing because it keeps us working on improvement, on seeking goals, but it's easy for this to take on a negative spiral, that negative spiral of comparison. So let's go back to the basics of RSF. The only way to get your mind out of a spiral of problem-centric thought or negative thinking or comparison is to replace it. You really can't just tell yourself to stop thinking about it or to stop comparing yourself. It's mostly wasted breath. So let's replace it with those couple questions that can't help but create a significant mindset shift. What's one thing I've done that my past self would be proud of? And what's one thing I can do today to keep moving forward to my next goal? Give yourself credit where credit is due in a way that reminds you of your progress. And then just take the next step forward. If you're feeling behind, I want you to remember, you don't need to be further along. You just need to keep moving. And the fastest way to do that is to shift your focus from what you're not doing to what you are doing. That's RSF. That's how we rewire your brain for confidence and for consistent execution when discouragement really tries to take hold. That's exactly what we're doing together in RSF Women. Listen, you've got this. And I'm here with you every step of the way.